Welcome back to Let's Play Higurashi Meakashi, and I've just noticed something that you can't see, but it's there. You know how the novel itself opens up and it has like the title above of it and all that, where it's like, oh, close, minimize and all that shit. And you know how there's always like a character like at the end of it, right? Well, I just now realized it's Mion. Shion on the Steam bit and Mion on the other bits. I suppose maybe they were just, I don't know. Was it Mion that got? Yeah, I think it was. Wait, no, I can't remember. It's just like one of the characters got missed out on the character thing, and I think it might have been Mion. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Also, look, same exact spot in both of them. You're staring up at the ceiling. Before we go on to that, Mion and Shion, we must have a word for the day. Man, that's quite a lot, actually. Tatsu, to pass. But here's the thing, right? Tatsu could also mean to stand or to rise or to depart or to cut off, depending on the context. See what I mean? That's what I mean about freaking kanji characters. It makes sense why they have them. Because otherwise, if you said tatsu like that, you'd be like, wait, do you mean to pass, to depart, to cut off, to stand, rise? It's like, you gotta have the right accompanying it. But then how the fuck do you get the context if you're speaking it then? I mean, in written form, yeah, you got kanji characters to separate that. But it must get pretty confusing sometimes when talking this. Like, what context you talking about here? Well, actually, that probably would. No, I still don't understand it. It's really confusing stuff. His name is Satoshi-kun, eh? The boy from earlier, he's called Satoshi Hojo-kun. Well, kun isn't really in his name, it's just, what's it called? A suffix? I forget what they're called. Mion said that he's always daydreaming, so she didn't believe that he saved me at first. His little sister is always kicking his butt. He has a little sister. Yeah, her name is Sadoko. She's funny, and shrewd, but is quick to cry when she's concerned. Cornered, She's fun to watch, but things have been rough for her lately, so she's feeling a bit down. His sister came up naturally in the conversation. I tried to soak up every scrap of information about Satoshi-kun. Why? Why am I trying to ask so much about him? As I asked myself that, the feeling I got when he stroked my head came back to me. It was love at first head pat. I must have been blushing. Oh, Shion. Sorry. I'm here, I'm listening. And the bird is too. The start I hear Satoko's on bad terms with her aunt. Satoshi's mature, so he knows how to conduct himself, but when bad things happen, Satoko really lets herself go. What Sis told me was very interesting. She told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are dead. Well, didn't she talk to her uncle about that? It's like, oh yeah, didn't these two people die? And she was talking about Sadoko and Satoshi's parents, but she didn't know who they were at the time, did she? Satoshi-kun and... wait, no, she told me that the parents of Satoshi-kun and his little sister are dead. Satoshi-kun and Sadoko are now living with their uncle and aunt. They don't seem like very respectable people. They're always fighting and the uncle is cheating on the aunt. He mostly lives with his mistress. Well, that kind of explains a lot, really, doesn't it? Why they didn't get the context much of, like, the uncle being the abusing one as much as the aunt was, because he wasn't there half the time. But he was a fucking bastard, as we saw in Higurashi. I won't say more than that to avoid spoiling arcs we've already gone over that you might not have seen. But anyways, Satoshi-kun and Satoko entered into the unwelcome environment. What surprises me the most is the fact that Satoshi-kun's parents were the Hojo couple who were the leaders of the pro-dam activists. That fact must have added something to the situation. I don't know what kind of stance the uncle and aunt took during the dam conflict, but they must have taken some indirect blows. Satoshi-kun's parents died after bothering them so much and even left them their children. The uncle and aunt obviously can't love those kids. Things have gotten worse this past year too. Women can be really nasty bullies. Sometimes it doesn't matter who they're bullying, even if it's a kid. On top of that, women tend to care less about propriety than men. As a result, Sadoko seemed exhausted with it all. I can imagine Satoshi-kun bravely protecting his little sister, just like when he saved me. So he must be exhausted too, right? Huh? He must be covering for Sadoko all the time, so wouldn't you normally assume that he's also feeling worn out? Well, I don't know. Bet I said something wrong. Well, as we saw from that one tip scene that seemed to be from his perspective, he's clearly putting on like a smile and an act, more or less, trying not to worry anyone with his own problems. Did I said something wrong? Mion sounded a bit taken aback. So that meant Mion can't tell how he's feeling. Because he's always wearing that blank look, so she never considered it. How can she be that insensitive even though she's around him all the time? I was amazed to realize that. Well, anyway, what does he usually do? He looked smart, so does he read a lot of books? Yeah, you're right, he likes to read. He's now reading, what's it called? I continued asking about him. We didn't, that's the ultimate cliffhanger that doesn't lead anywhere, isn't it? What was he reading? About what he likes, dislikes, and what he thinks about. I asked all these questions because I want to know more about him. For some reason in my mind, I just thinking like, The Hobbit for some reason. When was that released? I can't remember. But if it was released like prior to, 1982, I think it's currently taking place in the plot here, then that is totally what I imagine him reading for some reason. I have no idea why. But I continue asking about him, what he likes, dislikes, and what he thinks about. I asked these questions because I wanted to know more about him. It was the first time I'd ever been that interested in somebody. I didn't want to admit that I had feelings like that. Did I fall in love just because of a stroke on the head? Am I stupid or what? When I remember the feeling of his hand on my head, my heart feels tingly. I tried it myself, but it didn't feel the same. I'm stupid. What am I doing? Stroking my own head. Let's actually see how that's written. This is like every single part I do this now, isn't it? Ah ha 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 ha. Aha. I wonder if... Well, she said it somewhere up here as well, didn't she? I don't know. Because, stupid or idiot would usually be Baka, wouldn't it? That is, what, essentially? So, Nania, Dendario. Blah 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 de blah 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 no blah 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 de I know one of these is gonna be for face. I just can't remember which one. It might actually be just that because it's repeating. Well, that's confusing, isn't it? If that's like, it might have like a different reading for each one. Because you can't just be saying the same thing twice, right? Maybe she is. Confusing. stupid. What am I doing? Struck my own head. It doesn't repeat, so maybe it's just giving extra context. Sis, I'm done for. I became stupid. What? Why are you laughing? In that weird voice. Because it's been voice acted by a man! You wouldn't understand his feelings, sis. When would I see him again? Why is it 10 minutes into the video already? Bloody hell, time goes by quickly. I felt as if my suffocating life had finally grown brighter. As bright as the moon. Higurashi when they cry. I can't remember the freaking... There's just the one kanji character. The bit at the end is obviously gotta be Kai, but I can't freaking tell what the kanji character in there is. The life I lived really was beginning to suffocate me. I couldn't go out freely and I always had to make arrangements with Mion before going away. I thought my life would improve after escaping from the school, but in reality it wasn't that easy. Loads of time without character portraits, you know. It's not healthy to live like this for too long. Without any friends to hang out with, I felt like I was hibernating. I started to feel the dangers of falling into boredom. All I could think of now was Satoshi Hojokun's face. I'd already met him briefly, but my encounter with him had a great impact on my new life. I felt like something inside me was going to happen. Really, I was hyped up like a little kid. The more I thought about it, I realized I'd been thinking about him a lot lately. This might be a crush. I felt a little ridiculous idolizing him in such a romantic way. Then out of the blue, I got a chance to see him again. Oh, I saw a familiar face at twilight in a bar. He was sitting on a swing. It looked like he was zoning out or maybe deep in thought. He didn't notice me even though I was right in front of him. I remind myself to speak and act like Mion before talking to him. Hey, what are you doing here? Mion, you surprised me. You don't look surprised. I've been standing here for a couple of minutes now. Don't you notice me? Didn't you, I mean? Have you? Sorry, I didn't. He smiled derisively and shrugged. He looked depressed, like something was troubling him. Something bugging you? You can talk to me if you want. Maybe I can help. No, that's okay. Come on, I owe you one from before, Satoshi-kun. Or maybe you don't think this old man can be of any help. Don't you know how mighty I am? I'm okay. You don't have to help me. Well, she's doing a good job acting like Mion, because that's totally the way Mion would have worded that, isn't it? Huh, what is it then? Are you saying that you don't need help from a girl? Thinking him unfair, I puffed up my cheeks in a sulky gesture. Satoshi-kun noticed that and smiled. That isn't a smile. You lies! Osada! Oh, Mion, it's just I messed up my swing when they needed me the most. I mentally rifled through all the information about Satoshi-kun that Sis had given me. He doesn't look like much of an athlete, but apparently Satoshi-kun belongs to a junior baseball team. They're called the Hinamizawa Fighters. Remember those? No, it was in Tatarigoroshi when we first saw that, really, wasn't it? But it also explains the bat, if you recall, then, doesn't it? I doubt he's very skilled, since I didn't hear much about his contributions to the team. Maybe that's why he doesn't tell many people that he's a member, and it's all starting to fall into place a little with some things now, isn't it? If you think back. Given how down he felt as a result of messing up, though, he must be fairly dedicated. I deduced all that from what Sis told me, and carefully chose my words so as to sound like her. What, are you feeling down just because of that? Hey, it's not that easy to get over, Mion. I pat his back while chuckling. Satoshi-kun would probably call me insensitive. I knew I should listen to him rather than try to cheer him up. Acting like Sis was probably the wrong thing to do in this case, but I had no choice. This was just how she had reacted in the situation. Instead of feeling down, you should practice even harder and aim for your chance, you know. Practice makes perfect here. Well, if you want to beat the opposing pitcher so badly you're willing to pull some tricks, then I might be able to help you in a few ways. So there's no point in if I cheat. Ha. Satoshi hung his head after letting his regrets out with a big sigh. Surrender, defeat, or resignation were all visible in that gesture of his. Are you quick to give up or persistent? If you're a man, then don't you want to be a star and have your 15 minutes of fame? Satoshi grinned and said yes. Of course that'd be wonderful, but that's not why I play baseball. I just have fun batting and throwing the ball. You can understand that, right? Soul Man isn't sure. I only love games that I can win. I don't understand how you can love something when you can't be the best at it. That really sounds like you, Mion. Having realized that I'm trying to make him feel better, he laughed along. He didn't look depressed anymore. I guess he was just feeling down because of the game. He wasn't as depressed as I thought. Maybe I just jumped to conclusions when I saw him sitting alone in the park. You always put forth your best effort to win. That's admirable, I think. Then it definitely is. He smiled gently and stood up, then he started to stroke my head. All of a sudden, I totally wasn't prepared for that. What? Oh. I thought this when he did this last time, but how could he stroke somebody's head so easily? I felt like I had turned into a little kid. Memories from kindergarten came to mind. My face must have been red. I felt embarrassed, but also like I was in heaven. That is just like, well, they know each other. Well, she doesn't know him, and, well, she kind of knows him now, but he doesn't know who she really is. But assuming it's Mion, they know each other, so it's kind of like, yeah, it's just a thing he does. He probably doesn't do that just a random stranger, though. Imagine that. Or imagine he's just like, someone, just like in a case where he just does that to people randomly, and he just happens to do it to a bald person. They're just like, "Why are you mocking me, you son of a bitch?" And then he gets his ass kicked again like that time with the bikers. Satoshi struck me as though petting the cat. I was blushing with my eyes closed. I felt helpless like a girl being treated by the dentist with her mouth open and her eyes shut. Satoshi didn't seem to notice my feelings at all. He didn't seem to care. Oh, wait. I hate him. With my eyes still closed, I waited for him to finish. Could this potentially make her, a tsundere, or whatever it's pronounced as? Cause she clearly likes him, but at the same time, she's like, I hate him for this, but I like him at the same time. But I hate. Isn't that what the word actually means? I can't remember, actually. It's essentially like, hot and cold, or love and hate, or some shit. I can't remember the exact wording. But that's essentially what it is, and that's why it's, like, used for certain characters to have that type where they're just, like, they're harsh one moment, but really, they're very caring at the same time, or some shit. With my eyes still closed, I waited for him to finish. He suddenly withdrew his hand. I need to get going. My aunt wants some stuff, so I have to go grocery shopping. Okay. My voice faltered. I was so embarrassed. I'm going shopping too. What? You are? I thought the maids did all your housework stuff. Shoot. I messed up. Is the main Sonozaki house the maids do it, and the main Sonozaki house the maids do everything. Therefore, Mion hardly goes grocery shopping, and she's bragged to some people about that. I should have known better. Still, it wouldn't be too hard to find an excuse. I just happened to be in town, so I thought I'd help out with the housework stuff. Is that a problem? That doesn't sound like you. You always avoid doing more and stuff like that. Heck, I think it was in Onikakushi, but wasn't one of the first punishments in the punishment games things, wasn't it something like doing errands for everyone. It's just like, so it was established way back then. Mion does not like that shit. It's like, I don't like doing errands. You talk too much. Stop stroking my head. It's just like, I cannot see that kind of phrase. You talk too much without thinking of botchamania. Just can't. Satoshi-kun seemed to be having fun with how embarrassed I'd get when he patted me. Anyway, I managed to talk my way out of it. He didn't seem to really care about the details. While I walked with Satoshi-kun in the shopping district of Kamiichiki, it suddenly occurred to me. Why'd I messed up? I'd known Mion would never go grocery shopping. What an amateurish mistake. Did I make that mistake when I was pretending to be Mion? No, I was probably speaking of Shion. I couldn't help lying to myself. I had to just admit it. It was simply because I wanted to spend as much time with Satoshi-kun as possible. It was easy to see why I was so attracted to him. I had found something intriguing in my boring life, and I didn't have to feel tense because he thought I was somebody else, etc., etc. His easygoing nature made him fun to be around, and his habit of petting people on the head was fun too. From these symptoms, I could tell I was embracing the feeling of love. I was just casually enjoying that feeling. It wasn't that I fell in love with him, I was just having fun. I could simply spend fun time with Satoshi-kun without having to think too much. Which one is broccoli? The green one or the yellow one? That's cauliflower, Satoshi-kun. Hey, could it be that you can't tell lettuce from cabbage either? So it's not just Satoku that has that problem then. If I recall, cauliflower is the yellow one and the broccoli be the green one. I'm not that bad, I'm doing my best here. Well, maybe... No, actually that wouldn't make sense. Then why would he say the color? I was just like thinking, maybe he's colorblind, but I was like, wait, wouldn't really make sense how he's able to say, distinguish it by color then, but I have no idea. How does that even happen? Maybe he just hates vegetables to the point where he doesn't even know which one is which. I don't know, but then you'd have to include Satoko into it. And honestly, Satoko 1 would be more understandable. She seems like the type that doesn't like vegetables. So Satoshi-kun stared at the heaps of broccoli and cauliflower. After thinking for a while, he reached over for the wrong one. That's not it. Watching you shop is like being on a roller coaster. It's a lot of fun for me, though. You got me. Satoko can't tell the difference either. Which is broccoli and which one is cauliflower. You guys are too funny. Sis told me that Satoshi was a flaggy big brother to his nagging little sister. I hadn't met Satoko, but she must be having a tough time dealing with Satoshi-kun. He stumbles over everything he buys, after all. That's cooking salt. It's mixed with pepper. It's different from regular salt. Oh, is it? I think I saw salt and pepper separated at a science experiment once. Stop making excuses, just put it back on the shelf. This is normal salt. What are you getting next? The most bizarre shopping experience. You're being a great help, Mion. You look smart, but you have serious issues. I think you should study more. That's a little harsh. There. Is it? And it goes. That's not it. Don't just throw anything in a basket. Check the price and how many savings it is first. My first impression of Satoshi-kun was that he was strong and reliable. But the more I spoke to him, the more surprised I was at how clumsy and unreliable he was. How do I put it? It was hard to leave him alone. He was dangerous on his own. If he wasn't careful, he might start wondering, do you cross the street when the light is red? I don't think he's that much of an idiot. Or was it green? and get himself run over by a dump truck. Sweat drop. You know, I wonder how that looked in Japanese. I wonder, it's just like, I can't count in frickin' thousands in Japanese. I can barely count in Japanese in general. I think that's the symbol for yen, though. Must be. Whatever, that's not what we're looking for here. Where's the sweat drop? The sweat drop has its own kanji character, apparently. How about that? Okay, it's shop clerk then. Your total is 1,780 yen. Do you have a member's card? Oh, yes, I do. Where is it? Is this, Shion now? Oh, sorry, I can't seem to find it, so it'll be alright for today. I finished checking out, ignoring Satoshi-kun as he fished through his wallet full of receipts. Good God. I see myself in this guy a bit. Just like my wallet is full of like... I'm not as bad as my dad. He asked for receipts for everything. But like, whenever I like get money out, I always get a bounce. And I always just leave them stored wherever. In pockets, my wallet and shit. And it's just all over the place. But this Weiwei's like fishing out awkwardly. It's like, I've got to find this freaking thing. That's totally me. I've experienced that so many bloody times. Like one time I was on a bus and I was like trying to get into my pocket, but it's just so much stuff just bunged in there. It's like, I can't freaking find the right one. No. I can totally relate to this guy a bit. So that makes me a bit of an idiot, but I pretty much admit to being an idiot more or less a number of times. That was horrible, Mion. You made me waste points. Don't go slowly fishing through your wallet to look for your member's card in the middle of the evening shopping rush. There was a huge line behind us. Didn't you notice all the evil glares from all the old ladies? Listen, at times like that, you should get it out out before reaching the registers. I've had this experience so many times in life. We just like awkward pauses, just like catching a bus, catching a train, buying stuff. So I don't do shops, man. Online shopping is the way to go, because at least then you're not like freaking, if you're like me and just stumbling all around. It's like, come, stupid wallet. Heck, just from like getting my wallet down my pockets, like paying my guitar tutor. It's like, god damn it, the pocket's like not sized efficiently for this freaking wallet. So it's just like, come on, you son of a bitch. I mean, it's like, it's not a very big pocket that I store in my current coat that I got for Christmas. There's probably more pockets, but I haven't really checked around my coat for it. So I just bung it all in one. So there's like, there's my phone and there's my wallet. Simple enough, but it's hard to get the freaking wallet out when you need it. It's like, I'm just like, fuck it. No, can't, fuck. Hold it out. It's like, there. Like, what I get out for? Oh yeah, paying. It's not as awkward as I described, but it does happen. Well, it's happened. It happened yesterday, in fact. It's like, god damn, it's so. Actually, it might not have. I don't know. But essentially, it's been nice to get the wallet out of the pocket sometimes. So, in other words, I'm as much a klutz as this guy. To an extent. Oh, right. That's good to know. It's not only when you go shopping, the same thing goes for when you ride a bus. It just brings up the bus. The freaking bane of my existence. Fucking buses. But I've had plenty of awkward experiences with buses. Like, I used to have like a bus pass, but it expired. And I didn't realize this at the time. So I got on the bus, right? And it wasn't registered in it. But the bus driver was just like, hey, get on anyway. And then, when it came time to go home on the bus, they wouldn't accept it. So I had to awkwardly walk past these other people getting on the bus, around and all the way to the bank to get some money out. And the thing is, right, cash machines don't freaking give out the amount I needed, so I had to go directly in the bank and ask, just like, can I take out £5? Because that's how much it is for a day out. And it's just like, why did they make it so freaking? It's just like you can only get out certain amounts, only teners and 20s and shit. Just like, oh, no fiver for you, sir. No, we don't do that, yeah. Pain in the ass, that one was. But anyways. Satoshi-kun, I bet you don't open your wallet and start looking for change until you're about to get off and have to pay while holding up everyone behind you. Totally me. I was just like, well, to an extent, I'm not nearly as bad as that anymore. Like, for example, when catching a bus, I will always get it out before, getting on the bus. I always get prepared. Like, when I originally catch a bus, I get the money out, as soon as the bus is coming into sight. And the ticket and all that for when, the bus finally arrives and shit, essentially. So I'm a bit more prepared than I used to be. I used to be exactly like this, where it'd be like, okay, wait until the time comes, and then just shit, can't get the freaking, It's awkward. Oh, everyone walks by me and pays their own fare. You know what that means. You're being a super huge ball to everyone. You need to have the money out beforehand. That's just good manners. Do you get it? Okay. You're scary today, Mion. Satoshi-kun smiled as if patronizing me. I couldn't believe it. He was definitely the type who made women want to protect him. Sure, he was fine as he was when he had a busybody like me around him, but I couldn't stop worrying whether he was able to function in society without someone like that nearby. We got plastic bags and sorted out what we bought. Satoshi-kun put a pack of tofu at the bottom of the bag. I slapped his hand and put in a milk carton instead. Okay, there we go. Now your aunt will freak out when she opens the shopping bag in her kitchen. Thanks. You helped me a lot. I don't think I'm very good at shopping. I can totally relate. I'm shit at it as well. Just shopping? That's definitely not the only thing. Just kidding. I had realized a few things while I was spending time with him today. He's not just bad at shopping, he's also chronically clumsy. In general, you could call him a slow thinker. That meant when he stepped into the quarrel with the punks, he must have needed a lot of courage. He might be a simpleton, but he's not stupid. He's aware of his weaknesses, so he must have been aware of the danger in that situation. He could have chosen to walk away even though I was in trouble, but he chose to be a man and stepped in. That was really admirable of him. Good boy, you did a great job. There. What is it? Don't stroke my head. Just like, no, I'll do to you what you keep doing to everyone else. I'm rewarding you for shopping successfully today. There. You're making fun of me, aren't you, Mion? No, I'm not. Can you go home by yourself? Do you know how to get there? That certainly is the indication, doesn't it? It's like, now you're really taking the piss, Mion. My sense of direction isn't that bad. You are making fun of me. Satoshi-kun's sulky face flushed red. He's just too cute. At that point, I caught a glimpse of a billboard from the corner of my eye. Piano lessons called blah. Abacus class. What? Junior baseball team. Members wanted. It was a posting for the team Satoshi-kun belonged to. It showed the date, time, and place of their next practice. By then, I knew just how flaky he was. I figured he must be just the same when playing baseball. Satoshi-kun realized that I was reading the posting. He looked uncomfortable and walked away. I know what you're thinking. I hope you won't come to see me playing baseball, Mion. What? Wait. Oh wait, no, that's probably her saying that. I know what you're thinking. Hope you won't come to see me playing baseball, Mion. Am I right? He does that a lot, doesn't he? He's like, what does that mumbling mean? I know I'm right. Mumble, mumble. Satoshi-kun became quiet after mumbling something. It seemed like he couldn't say anything back since I had been right on the money. Satoshi-kun, you're just too cute! Now, if this was Rena, she would take him home with her. I don't think going silent is a good way to dodge the issue. Which brings up a point, actually. Because Rena was technically around this time. Because as was established, she knew Satoshi. So, she obviously was around. And now it makes me wonder, with her, you know, going into all like, oh, I'm gonna take you home with me, kind of thing. I wonder if she's ever tried to do that with Satoshi, because that would be an hilarious sight. I mean, we never actually see her do, well, if it's in the anime, I suppose you could say that you have seen her do that. But just like the mental image of her just probably bunging him over her shoulder and just like charging forth towards her home. Just seems hilarious. I don't think going silent is a good way to dodge the issue. Well, that might have just been the way innocent people like him would react to a situation like that. Well, in a situation like that. See you, Satoshi-kun, it's getting dark, so be careful on your way back. Aren't you going home, Mion? To Hidemizawa? I have to make a stop somewhere first. Don't worry about me. I'll help you this time, in return. Ho 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 ho. I'm okay. What are you going to help me with anyway? That was probably less of a kind of laughing, more of just like, you know, trying to, you know, keep a calm face. You should learn to support yourself before you try to help me. You're really mean today. You seem to have some pride, at least. He looked a bit upset because he was teased by a girl, but in contrast, I felt very satisfied. As a result, I forgot to keep my guard up. Thank you for the help. That was sweet of you. Well, while wearing a bright smile, Satoshi-kun suddenly started stroking my head again. I know he's teasing me, but oh, I can't reject him. He keeps turning because he's realized I won't resist. Oh. See you, Mion. You should go home before it gets dark. See you in school tomorrow. Yeah, and all that. You know how they usually say in this kind of context. See you in school tomorrow. Tomorrow too. What was it? Mata Ashta? Is it Ashta? Is it Ashta? Something like that. It's like, see you tomorrow. In fact, I wouldn't see him tomorrow at all. It felt awkward, but I had to settle for that. I had to thank Sis for letting me use her name. After I separated from him, I found myself giddy and wishing to see him again as soon as possible. I wanted to know more about him. I couldn't wait for my next chance to see him. Actually, maybe there was something I could do. Just like when I obtained my freedom from St. Lucia's. I could choose how to live my life. Whatever, it wasn't that complicated. I just wanted to tease him more, I wanted him to stroke my head more. And, whatever. I already knew the schedule for his baseball team. And that's put our plan in motion. Probably. Higurashi when they cry. Higurashi no naku something ni kai. A crumbled diary. Didn't we already have a crumbled diary? New tips nonetheless. Achievement unlocked. A hopeless pair. You see that? That is broccoli. That is a fact. Unless even I got it mixed up there. But for the first time in this whole arc so far. We're saving at the tips menu, sort of, because the battery is far too low to go over a tip. So, I will see you next time, viewers. See you next time.